My wife secretly sold our family home worth $350, $0, and split the proceeds with her affair partner, then filed for divorce claiming I abandoned her. Now she's claiming I cheated because I found the bank statements and am demanding half the $200, $0 she stole from our joint account. I never thought I'd find myself in a situation like this, but here I am, trying to piece together what's left of a marriage I thought was solid. It all started with a gut feeling, a nagging sense that something was off, but I didn't want to believe it. My wife, Jessica, always had a way of acting busy, secretive even, but I chalked it up to her being stressed at work or just her usual bitchy attitude. That was until I stumbled upon the truth in the most unexpected way. It was a quiet Sunday afternoon when I decided to finally check the bank statements. Jessica had been acting weird lately, more irritable, more distant, and I figured maybe she was hiding something. We'd been together for over 10 years, married for 8, and everything seemed normal on the surface. But I'd noticed small things, her sneaking her phone into the bathroom, deleting messages, and making up stories about late nights at her sister's house or working late at her job. I was tired of feeling like I was walking on eggshells, so I decided to see what the money was telling me. When I pulled up the bank account, my stomach sank. The statements showed several large transactions I didn't recognize. At first, I thought maybe she was just spending for herself, though I wasn't blind. I knew Jessica liked to shop, but this was different. Then I saw the name. A guy named Mark. That's when everything clicked. I remembered her dismissive tone when she mentioned a new friend, and the late nights she'd come home smelling like perfume I didn't recognize. I could feel my blood boiling as I scrolled through the statements, each one revealing more: payments to a hotel, cash withdrawals, and a sizable transfer into an account I'd never seen before. I couldn't believe it. My wife had sold our family home, worth $350, $0, without telling me. I found out she'd split the proceeds with Mark, her affair partner. I couldn't breathe. The house was supposed to be our future, our stability, and she just gave it away. I looked at the numbers, about $200, $0 gone, stolen right out of our joint account. The betrayal hit me like a punch to the gut. How could she do this? How could she lie to my face, pretend everything was fine, and then secretly destroy everything we built together? I wanted to confront her immediately, but I knew I needed to tread carefully. I needed proof, and I needed to understand her mindset. So I kept digging, gathering everything I could. I found texts between her and Mark, explicit messages, plans for secret meetups, even flirtatious talk about starting fresh somewhere else. The words made my stomach churn and my mind raced with questions. How long had this been going on? Was she planning this all along? Did she ever really love me? I've always been a guy who believed in honesty and loyalty, and right now, I felt like I'd been punched in the face. I was furious, heartbroken, and confused all at once. I thought about confronting her that night, but I knew it wouldn't be that simple. She's a master manipulator, always quick with a lie and a fake smile. I had to plan my move carefully because once I exposed her, everything would change forever. I remember staring at the bank statements, feeling numb, realizing that my entire life was unraveling. The house I worked so hard to pay off, the savings we had for the future, all gone, taken by her and her lover. I kept asking myself, how could she do this? How could she betray me so completely? And more than anything, I wondered what I was going to do next. I knew I couldn't keep pretending everything was fine. The truth was staring me in the face, and I had to decide what my next move would be. After I gathered all the evidence, I didn't sleep that night. I kept staring at the screenshots, the bank statements, the messages, trying to process it all. Jessica kept acting as if everything was normal. She'd come home, cook dinner, act like she loved me. But I knew better now. I could see the lies behind her eyes, the way she'd brush off my questions with that bitchy smirk, trying to make me doubt myself. She's good at lying, that one. Always has been. The next morning, I decided I had to confront her. I didn't want to do it in anger, but I also knew I couldn't keep pretending I didn't know. I waited until she was in the kitchen pouring coffee. I took a deep breath, feeling my heart pounding in my chest. I didn't want to make a scene, but I also knew I couldn't let her keep lying to me. "Jessica," I said, voice steady but cold, We need to talk. She looked up, her eyes narrowing. What's wrong, babe? You look like you've seen a ghost. I pulled out the bank statements and the messages I'd printed. I've seen these. I know about Mark, about the house, about the money. Her face didn't change, she just scoffed. Oh, please, you're overreacting. You always jump to conclusions. I was just talking to Mark about some business stuff, that's all. Business stuff, Jessica, you sold our house behind my back. You split the money with him. You stole from us. How could you do that? She rolled her eyes. Stole. You're overreacting. You're always so dramatic. It's not like I took everything. I was just trying to fix things. You're always so paranoid. I felt a surge of anger. Fix things. You're lying. You've been lying for months. I found the bank statements 200 gone, Jessica. Tell me the truth. What's really going on? She crossed her arms, smirking. You think I'm cheating? Please. I've been busy with work and yeah, maybe I've been stressed, but I'm not some cheating slut. You're just jealous because I found someone who makes me happier than you ever did. That hit me like a punch. Happier? You're joking, right? You've been sneaking around, selling our house, lying about everything, and you think I'm jealous. You're the one who's been cheating, Jessica, not me. She laughed bitterly. Oh, so now I'm the bad guy. You think I wanted to do this? No, I did it because I was tired of your constant accusations, your control. Maybe if you weren't so insecure, I wouldn't have had to look elsewhere. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. Her words stung worse than I expected. I always thought we had a good relationship. Sure, we fought sometimes, but I never imagined she'd do something like this. I looked at her, trying to stay calm, but inside I was boiling with rage and heartbreak. You lied to me, I said quietly. You betrayed everything we had. You sold the house, took the money, and now you're trying to make me out to be the bad guy. She rolled her eyes again. You're so dramatic. Look, I don't owe you an explanation. I've made my choice. I'm done pretending we're happy. I want a divorce and I want half of what's ours. You can't stop me. That was the moment I realized I had to do something. I couldn't let her get away with this. Not just the betrayal, but the fact she was trying to spin it around and make me look like the villain. I knew I had to fight back, to protect what was left of my life. I didn't know exactly what I'd do yet, but I knew I couldn't just accept her version of events. I felt the cold resolve settling in. Jessica was manipulative, selfish, and utterly without conscience. I had to plan my next move carefully, collect more evidence, talk to a lawyer, figure out how to get her to admit the full extent of her lies. She thought she was in control, but I wasn't going to let her walk all over me. Not this time. As she stormed out of the kitchen, I sat down and stared at the mess she'd created. The house, the savings, the trust, all gone. And now I had to decide whether to fight for what was right or let her take everything and walk away. But one thing was clear. I wasn't going to let her ruin me without a fight. The confrontation left me reeling, but I knew I couldn't let her get away with this. I had to be smart about what I was going to do next. Jessica thought she was in the right, that she could manipulate her way out of this mess, but I wasn't about to let her. I spent the next couple of days gathering everything I could, more bank statements, copies of the sale agreement for the house, her text messages with Mark, and even some emails I managed to hack into. I wasn't proud of invading her privacy, but I needed the evidence to prove her wrongdoing, especially since she was already spinning lies about me cheating to the friends and family. During this time, I also reached out to a lawyer. I wanted to understand my legal position before I made any moves. The lawyer told me that, based on what I'd shown him, I had a solid case for financial betrayal and possibly for the house sale if I could prove I wasn't involved in any way. She lied about the sale being a joint decision, which was a lie. She'd done it all secretly. The lawyer also warned me that Jessica might try to accuse me of cheating or abandonment to turn the tables, but I wasn't worried about that. I had the evidence and the truth on my side. By then, Jessica was acting even more bitchy and dismissive. She'd throw sarcastic comments, accuse me of being paranoid, and insist she hadn't done anything wrong. Meanwhile, she continued to spend money, more shopping sprees, fancy dinners, even a vacation with Mark. It was like she thought she could buy her way out of the mess she'd created. I saw her posting pictures on social media, flaunting her new life, acting as if she was the victim. That made me angrier, but I kept my cool. I knew I had to strike at the right moment. One evening, I decided to confront her again, but this time with a plan. I invited her to sit down with me, away from the kids and everyone else. I told her I had something important to discuss, something about our future. She rolled her eyes, but I could see the flicker of nervousness behind her smirk. I pulled out the folder with all the evidence I'd accumulated. "Jessica," I said, voice calm but firm, "I know everything. About the house, the money, Mark. Don't even try to deny it anymore. I have the proof, and I want to know why you did this, why you betrayed me and our family like this." Her face twisted into a mixture of anger and contempt. "You think I owe you an explanation? I did what I had to do. I was miserable with you. You're controlling, boring, and honestly, you're not the man I thought I married. Mark makes me happy, and I'm done pretending we're okay." I felt my fists clench. "You think you're the only one who's been unhappy? You think I didn't notice you sneaking around, lying about everything? That house was our home. Jessica, you sold it behind my back, stole our savings, and now you're trying to turn this around on me." She scoffed. "Please, you're so naive. I never loved you that much. I just stayed because of the kids and because I thought I owed it to you, but I don't anymore. I want out and I want half of everything. You're not going to stop me." I looked at her, feeling more betrayed than I ever had in my life. Her words were cold, calculated, and full of lies. I knew her well enough to see she was trying to manipulate me, trying to make me look like the bad guy so she could walk away with everything, but I wasn't going to let her. "Jessica," I said, voice low, "I'm not going to let you get away with this. I have evidence and I'm prepared to fight. You stole from us, you lied, you betrayed me, and now you're trying to blame me for your mistakes. Well, I'm done playing your game. If you want a divorce, fine. But I will fight for what's rightfully mine, and I will make sure everyone knows what you did." She looked at me with pure venom. "Good luck, then. You're going to need it, because I'm not backing down and I'm not giving you a damn thing." That night, I felt a mix of relief and dread. Relief that I finally had proof and a plan, but dread because I knew this was only the beginning of a long, messy fight. Jessica was manipulative and vindictive, and I had no doubt she'd do everything in her power to spin this story her way. But I also knew I couldn't let her continue to lie and steal. I had to stay strong, stay focused, and prepare for what was coming next. My life had been turned upside down, and I was about to enter a war I never wanted to fight. The days that followed were a whirlwind. Jessica, true to her bitchy and manipulative nature, doubled down on her lies. She started telling everyone, family, friends, even some of our neighbors, that I'd abandoned her, that I was cheating on her, that I was the one who betrayed our vows. She painted herself as the victim, the wronged wife pushed to her limit by my supposed infidelity. It was infuriating to watch her spin such blatant lies, but I knew I had to stay calm and focused. If I let her get under my skin, I'd be playing right into her hands. Meanwhile, I kept gathering more evidence. I contacted a lawyer who specialized in divorce and financial fraud. We drafted a plan to file for legal separation and to contest her claims, especially since she was trying to claim I'd abandoned her. I had texts, emails, and bank records showing she was the one orchestrating the sale of our house, the withdrawal of funds, and her secret meetings with Mark. I also found a few receipts from her recent shopping sprees, luxury dinners, and even the vacation she took with her affair partner. It was all piling up, and I could see her panic starting to show. One night she came home late, smelling like perfume I didn't recognize. She was bitchy, snapping at me over small things, trying to gaslight me into thinking I was paranoid. She accused me of spying on her, of invading her privacy, and of being insecure. I kept my cool, but inside I was boiling. I wanted to scream at her, to call her out for every lie, but I knew that wouldn't help. Instead, I just played along, pretending I believed her innocent act while secretly preparing my next move. Then came the real turning point. I decided I needed to confront her directly about her claims of abandonment and her accusations that I'd cheated. I scheduled a meeting with her lawyer, just to clarify my rights and her obligations. During that meeting, I learned that she was trying to claim I'd left her, that I'd been unfaithful, and that I'd abandoned her emotionally and financially. The lawyer told me I had a strong case to contest her claims, especially since I had evidence of her secret sale of the house and her financial misconduct. Armed with this knowledge, I arranged a face-to-face meeting with Jessica, hoping to get some honest answers. I told her I was done playing her game and that I'd be taking legal action. She scoffed at me, trying to dismiss my concerns, but I pressed her hard. "Jessica," I said, voice steady but cold, "you're not going to control this. I know what you did. You sold our house, stole from our joint account, and now you're trying to spin it so I look like the bad guy. That's not going to work anymore. I have all the proof. And I'm going to fight for what's rightfully mine, our marriage, our home, what we built together. You can't just walk away with everything." She looked furious, trying to hide her panic. "Oh, please. You're just jealous because I found someone who makes me happy. I don't care about your stupid house or your money. I want out and I want my fair share. If you try to stop me, you'll only make things worse." That's when I saw the true nature of her desperation. She was trying to manipulate me, trying to scare me into backing down, but I knew her tricks now. I told her I'd be filing for divorce, that I'd be seeking full custody of the kids, and that I'd be fighting to recover the stolen money. Her face twisted into a sneer, but I could see her eyes flicker with fear. That night, I felt a strange mix of relief and dread. I was finally taking control of the situation, but I also knew this was just the beginning of a war. Jessica was cunning, vindictive, and she didn't care about the truth, only about getting what she wanted. I was prepared to fight for my rights, to expose her lies, and to make sure she paid for her betrayal. The upcoming days would be crucial. I had to stay vigilant, keep my evidence ready, and prepare for her next move. She'd already proven she was willing to do anything to get her way, but I wasn't going to let her destroy me or our family. I'd come too far, and I knew I'd do whatever it took to come out on top. The fight was far from over, but I was ready. The tension in the house kept escalating. Jessica was clearly panicked but still trying to act composed, at least in front of others. Behind closed doors, her bitchy attitude sharpened, and she started throwing fits, shouting about how I was ruining everything, how I was the one cheating, how I was the one abandoning her. She'd cry crocodile tears one minute and then turn around and call me a controlling, jealous husband the next. It was exhausting, but I knew I had to stay focused. I couldn't let her manipulate the situation anymore. I kept collecting evidence, but I also started planning my next legal moves. I contacted a divorce lawyer who specialized in high-conflict cases. We discussed the situation thoroughly, and I learned that if I could prove the house was sold without my consent, I might be able to challenge the sale. I also discovered that, because she'd transferred large sums of money out of our joint account, I could potentially recover some of the stolen funds through legal channels. The more I learned, the clearer it became that Jessica was trying to spin this as a simple breakup, but she was actually guilty of serious financial misconduct and betrayal. Meanwhile, Jessica's stories kept changing. She kept insisting she was the victim, that I'd abandoned her emotionally, that I'd cheated on her first, none of which was true, but she kept trying. She'd even tell her friends that I'd been abusive, which was laughable. I had never laid a finger on her. But her words were getting more venomous, and I could see her desperation growing. She'd threaten me with legal action, saying she'd claim I was the one who cheated, that I'd abandoned her, that I was bad guy. I knew she was trying to turn the tables, but I had enough evidence to counter her lies. One day, I decided I had to confront her directly about her latest accusations. I called her into the living room and told her I wasn't going to let her keep lying, that I knew about her affair, the sale of the house, and the money she'd stolen. I told her I had enough proof to take her to court, and that I was prepared to do so. Her face instantly turned pale, but she tried to act dismissive. "Oh, please," she sneered. "You're just jealous because I found someone better. You're the one who's been cheating, not me. I don't care what evidence you have. I want a divorce and I want half of everything." I looked at her, feeling a mix of anger and sadness. "Jessica, I know you're lying. I know about Mark, about the house, about the money. You're not the victim here. You're the one who betrayed me and everything we built. And I'll fight to make sure you don't get away with it." She crossed her arms and shot back, "You're just mad because I don't want to be with someone like you anymore. I deserve better, someone who makes me happy, not some controlling, insecure husband." That was the moment I realized she was beyond reasoning. She was desperate, cornered, and trying to save herself at any cost. I knew I had to escalate my legal actions. I told her I'd be filing for full custody of the kids, seeking a restraining order if necessary, and fighting for the return of the stolen money. I warned her that if she continued lying and manipulating, I'd expose her to everyone, including the authorities if needed. Her eyes flashed with fury, but she didn't say anything. Instead, she stormed out of the room, slamming the door behind her. I sat there, feeling exhausted but relieved. I'd made it clear I was serious, that I wasn't backing down. She thought she could manipulate her way out of this mess, but I had the evidence and the will to fight. Over the next few days, I prepared my case. I gathered witness statements, finalized my legal strategy, and made arrangements to meet with a forensic accountant to trace the money she'd stolen. I also started documenting her lies, her manipulative behavior, and her attempts to turn everyone against me. I knew she'd try to sabotage me at every turn, but I was ready. I'd learned a lot during this process, about her, about myself, and about the importance of standing up for what's right. I couldn't help but feel a strange sense of clarity amidst the chaos. Jessica's betrayal had shattered my trust, but it also made me realize I'd been too passive for too long. No more. I was going to fight for my rights, for my dignity, and for the truth. No matter how much she tried to spin her lies, I had the evidence to prove her wrong. This wasn't just about money or the house anymore. It was about standing up to someone who thought she could get away with anything. And I was determined not to let her. The storm was far from over, but I finally felt like I was in control of my future. The final phase of this nightmare hit harder than I expected. Jessica, in her desperation, started to escalate her manipulations. She hired a lawyer who was known for aggressive tactics, and suddenly I found myself embroiled in a legal battle I wasn't fully prepared for. She filed her own divorce petition, claiming I had abandoned her, accusing me of infidelity, and trying to block my efforts to recover the stolen money. The court papers painted me as the villain, trying to take everything from her. I knew she was lying, but I also knew I had to fight harder than ever to clear my name. During this period, I stayed focused. I presented all my evidence: bank statements, text messages, emails, witness affidavits. I worked with my lawyer to build a case proving her deceit, the illegal sale of our house, and her financial misconduct. The stress was immense, but I refused to give her the satisfaction of seeing me break down. Instead, I used every moment to reinforce my position. I hired a private investigator to verify her claims and to find out if she was hiding any more assets. Turns out she'd been trying to open new accounts under different names, attempting to hide the money she stole. That was the final nail, her attempt to pull a fast one and escape justice. She continued her lies publicly, claiming I was the bad guy, that I'd cheated on her first, that I'd abandoned the family. But as more evidence surfaced, her credibility crumbled. Friends and family saw through her act, and even some mutual acquaintances started questioning her story. Her manipulations became less effective, and her bitchy, controlling attitude only pushed people further away. The court hearings were intense. Jessica's lawyer tried every trick in the book: false accusations, emotional appeals, attempts to discredit me. But I stayed calm, sticking strictly to the facts. About how she secretly sold the house, how she'd stolen our savings, and how she'd lied about everything. I also brought witnesses who confirmed her pattern of manipulative behavior and her attempts to hide assets. Finally, after months of legal battles, the judge ruled in my favor. The court ordered her to return the stolen money, awarded me primary custody of the kids, and declared the sale of the house invalid because it was done without my consent. Jessica's lies about abandonment and infidelity were dismissed outright. She was ordered to pay damages for her financial misconduct, and her attempts to manipulate the court backfired spectacularly. Looking back, I realize I learned a lot from this ordeal. The most important lesson is that betrayal can come from the most unexpected places, and trust once broken is hard to rebuild. But I also learned that honesty, persistence, and a clear head can see you through even the darkest times. I've come out of this battered but stronger, wiser about the true nature of people and what I deserve in life. In the end, I moved out of the house, started fresh, and focused on rebuilding what I'd lost. I kept my integrity intact, refused to stoop to her level, and made sure my children knew the truth about her betrayal, about the importance of honesty, and about resilience. I still feel the sting of betrayal every day, but I also feel relief that justice was served, and I finally have peace. This experience has taught me to be cautious, to trust my instincts, and to never let anyone take advantage of me again. If there's one thing I want others to take from this, it's that no matter how much someone tries to manipulate or lie, the truth has a way of coming out. Stay vigilant, stay honest, and never let betrayal define you. I've learned that even in the darkest moments, there's a way to find light. Sometimes you just have to fight for it.